You might think a road trip is just about the scenery, the open road, and the joy of the journey. But what if I told you that the road you choose could actually protect your heart? Yes, your heart. Not just metaphorically, I'm talking about real, physical heart health. Today, I want to share something that might surprise you. It's not about pills, not about diets, not even about exercise. It's about the kind of road you drive on and the places where you stop. Sounds strange? Let me explain. This isn't about being dramatic. It's about being prepared. Especially if you're over 60 and maybe traveling solo. Because when we're on the road, literally or figuratively, how we move, breathe, and even rest can shape what happens inside our chest. So if you're someone who enjoys a Sunday drive, or maybe you're planning a longer trip across state lines, stick around. Because what we're going to talk about might just change the way you plan your next journey, and it might save your life. Let's take this 1 mile at a time. Now here's the first idea I want you to consider. Imagine you've got 2 routes to get from A to B. One is faster, highway all the way, straight, noisy, lined with gas stations and billboards. The other, slower, twists and turns, trees on both sides, maybe even a lake here and there. You'll lose a few minutes, sure. But here's the kicker. That slower, greener road might be one of the best choices you could make for your heart. Why? Because studies have shown that driving through areas filled with greenery, trees, grass, even farmland, can actually reduce your risk of cardiac arrest. Yes, cardiac arrest. It's not just about how beautiful the view is. It's about what's in the air. You see, urban highways are packed with invisible threats, air pollution from exhaust fumes, constant noise from traffic, even harsh lighting that messes with your brain's ability to relax. All of those things, pollution, noise, artificial light, are known to increase stress on the body. And when your body is constantly under pressure, your heart takes the hit. Let me tell you a story. A retired teacher named Linda, 72, took a road trip every spring from Minnesota down to Arizona to visit her grandchildren. She used to take the interstate. It was direct, familiar. But she always arrived feeling drained. Her chest felt tight. Sleep. Terrible. One year, her doctor suggested something odd. Try taking the scenic route. Give yourself an extra day. Linda laughed. But she gave it a shot. She stopped more often, chose quieter roads with more nature around. And something changed. She didn't just feel better, her heart rate actually stayed lower throughout the drive. Her smartwatch showed it. She slept better in the hotel. No chest tightness. No weird blood pressure spikes. One small change. One longer, greener drive. And a completely different outcome. So next time you're mapping out a trip, take a moment to consider the slower road. It's not just about avoiding stress. It's about actively protecting your heart from hidden threats. But it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the second thing that matters, and this one is often overlooked. It's where you stop. Not just the road you take, but where you rest. When you've been sitting behind the wheel for hours, it's tempting to just pull into a gas station, stretch your legs a little, and keep going. But here's a better idea: pull into a green space. A real one. A park. A rest area with trees. Maybe a place near a lake or walking trail. Even 10 to 15 minutes surrounded by nature can help lower your heart rate, regulate your breathing, and restore your nervous system. There's a growing field of research around what's called parasympathetic activation. Sounds fancy, right? But all it means is, your body shifts into recovery mode. The opposite of fight or flight. Let me paint you a picture. Think about Frank, 68. He's a widower and likes long solo drives to clear his mind. But for years, he found that even short road trips left him feeling anxious and physically drained. His daughter, a nurse, suggested something simple. Every time you stop, she said, make sure you're near trees. Not parking lots. So Frank started planning his breaks in advance. Instead of just stopping when the gas light came on, he picked parks along the way. He'd get out, walk slowly, breathe deeply. And the change? Immediate. His resting heart rate dropped. He felt calmer. And when he got home, his blood pressure wasn't spiking like before. This isn't magic. It's biology. Our bodies respond to nature. We evolved with it. And even in your 70s, your heart is still listening. Now maybe you're wondering, how do I know if it's really working? How do I track what my heart is doing? That brings us to the third piece of this puzzle, awareness. You don't need to be a doctor to understand your own heart. One of the simplest, most powerful tools you can carry with you is your own data. And I'm not talking about anything fancy. There are two numbers that can tell you a whole story: your resting heart rate and your heart rate variability. Resting heart rate, also called RHR, is just the number of times your heart beats per minute when you're completely at rest. The lower, generally, the better. It means your heart doesn't have to work so hard. Heart rate variability, HRV, is a little more advanced, but don't let that scare you. It just means the tiny changes in time between each heartbeat. And it turns out, those tiny changes can say a lot about your health. Higher variability usually means your body is relaxed, resilient, and recovering well. Low variability can be a sign of stress, fatigue, or even illness. These numbers don't diagnose you, but they can whisper that something's off before your body shouts. Take Mark, 74, former construction worker. Proud of never going to the doctor. But one day, after a few long drives, he noticed something odd. His resting heart rate had gone up. Not a lot, just 5 or 6 beats higher than usual. Then his smartwatch alerted him, low HRV detected. He felt fine, but he mentioned it to his daughter. She insisted he see a cardiologist. Turns out, Mark was in the early stages of atrial fibrillation, something that could have led to a stroke if it wasn't caught early. All because he listened to what his heart was saying, quietly. If you don't have a smartwatch, don't worry. You can still check your pulse the old-fashioned way. Count your beats for 15 seconds and multiply by 4. That's your resting heart rate. As for HRV, some chest strap monitors and apps can help, if you're up for it. But even without the tech, noticing patterns when you feel tired, dizzy, restless, can clue you in. So let's recap, gently. Choose greener roads. Stop in places where nature can help you heal. And start paying attention to the quiet signals from your heart. But here's the thing. Even when we do everything right, sometimes our hearts still cry out for help. That's why, in the next part, we'll talk about what to do when those signals turn into alarms, and how a little preparation, even when you're alone, can make all the difference. So, what happens when the gentle signals we talked about, the rising heart rate, the low HRV, start turning into something more urgent? Maybe you're on the road. Maybe you're home alone. And suddenly, you feel off. Not pain exactly, but something's not right. This is where awareness turns into action. And the truth is, many older adults, especially those living alone, don't always know what to do next. Or worse, they hesitate. They wait, hoping it'll pass. But heart issues aren't known for being patient. So let's talk about what to do when your heart starts waving a red flag. Here's the first thing I want you to remember: subtle doesn't mean safe. Many people imagine heart problems to be dramatic, clutching your chest, falling to the ground. And yes, sometimes it happens that way. But far more often, the signs are quiet. Maybe your heart feels like it's fluttering or skipping. Maybe you feel dizzy when you stand up. Maybe your legs are swelling more than usual. Or you're short of breath after doing something you used to handle just fine. These aren't just getting older moments. They're warning lights. Now let me share a story about Irene. She's 76, lives on her own in a small town. One morning, she woke up feeling tired. Just tired in a way that didn't make sense. Her smartwatch showed her heart rate had been elevated during the night, and her HRV had dropped. She almost ignored it. But then she remembered what her granddaughter told her: if something changes and stays changed, even if it feels small, tell someone. So she did. Irene called her doctor, who told her to come in that day. Turns out, she was developing congestive heart failure. It hadn't gotten bad yet. No dramatic symptoms. But it was there, and catching it early made all the difference. That's the power of listening before it's loud. Now let's say you do notice a change. What next? Well, here's a trick I recommend to everyone over 60. Make an emergency card you carry with you. It doesn't have to be fancy. A small piece of paper in your wallet or glove compartment is enough. On that card, write 3 things. Your baseline resting heart rate. Your average blood pressure, if you know it. Your emergency contact and doctor's number. You can even add a short note. I monitor my HRV and RHR. Recent changes noted. That one sentence could help a paramedic take you seriously, faster. Because here's the thing. When you arrive at an ER, they often have to start from scratch. But if you can hand them a snapshot of your usual health, they can compare it to what's happening now and act quickly. There's another layer to this. Being alone doesn't mean being unprepared. A lot of older adults don't want to bother anyone. But let me be clear, you're not bothering people when you speak up about your health. You're showing wisdom, courage, and you might even be saving your own life. Frank, remember him from earlier? The man who liked to drive alone? Well, he did one more smart thing. He kept a small voice memo on his phone. Just 30 seconds. It said, "My name is Frank. I'm 68. I live with a history of high blood pressure. If you're hearing this, I may be in distress. Please call this number." He set it up so all he had to do was hold the button on his phone and say emergency, and it would play. He never needed it. But knowing it was there gave him confidence. And that confidence changed how he lived. Because here's something that doesn't get said enough, peace of mind is part of heart health too. Now, what else can we do? Well, one of the best ways to take care of your heart is to stay connected. Not just to nature, or to numbers, but to people. Loneliness, believe it or not, is a form of stress. A quiet, lingering kind. The kind that slowly wears down your heart over time. If you're planning a trip, even a short one, let someone know. Share your route. Check in when you stop. Better yet, invite someone along, even for part of the way. Or use that rest stop to call a friend, not just stretch your legs. You don't have to travel through life alone even if you're traveling solo. Let me bring it full circle now. Heart health isn't only about hospitals or medications. It's also about moments. The moment you decide to take the scenic route instead of the fast one. The moment you pull into a quiet park instead of a noisy gas station. The moment you pause to check your pulse instead of pushing through the fatigue. These little choices, they add up. Over time, they shape the rhythm of your life. And when you learn to listen to your heart, not just the beating, but the quiet messages it sends, you become your own best protector. Not in fear, but in wisdom. Because here's what I believe, aging isn't about decline. It's about awareness. And with awareness comes power. So wherever you go next, whether it's a Sunday drive or a cross-country adventure, remember that your heart is coming with you. And it deserves the best seat in the car. Take the slower road. Sit under the trees. Notice the patterns. Trust the whispers. And above all, don't be afraid to speak up when something feels wrong. You've earned that right. You've lived long enough to know, the little things matter. And now, it's your turn. Have you ever taken a different route and felt better because of it? Have you noticed how your body reacts in nature versus in traffic? Or maybe you've used a smart device to track your heart, what did it tell you? Share your story in the comments. You never know who you might help by speaking up. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a like. Maybe even share it with someone you care about, someone who's planning a trip, or just trying to take better care of themselves. And if you want more simple, real-life ways to stay strong and healthy after 60, hit that subscribe button. This journey's not over, and you're not walking it alone. Take care of your heart. It's been taking care of you for a long, long time.